You know what the actual sound of national security is? It isn't a siren, and it sure isn't the clicking of a gun slide like they show in the movies. It's the hum of an oversized server room cooling fan and the scratch of a cheap government-issued Bic pen on a logbook that nobody reads until the world ends. I've spent 25 years listening to that hum. I'm Brandon Sullivan. I'm 48 years old, and I'm the guy who makes sure the doors lock, the badges work, and that when a convoy of black SUVs rolls up to a defense research facility in Northern Virginia, the people inside don't walk into a disaster. I'm a former Marine with top-secret clearance and a mortgage I can barely tolerate. 3 tours in Afghanistan taught me one thing. When you're responsible for keeping people alive, there are no shortcuts. You follow protocol, you check twice, you trust but verify. Those lessons served me well when I transitioned to civilian security work at 25. Started as a junior guard, worked my way up, built my reputation one crisis at a time. I worked, at a Tier 2 defense research facility. We handle ballistic missile guidance systems that the Pentagon wants to deploy in 3 years. My job title was Senior Security Operations Manager, which is fancy government speak for the guy who fixes everything while the politicians take credit. In 25 years, I built the security department from 12 guards to 40 professional staff. 0 breaches on my watch. 0. In my line of work, if you do your job perfectly, you are invisible. If a vice president visits and nobody gets shot, nobody trips over a cable, and nobody leaks a photo of him eating a bagel, I don't get a handshake. I get ignored. That's the deal. You trade your soul for a pension and the quiet satisfaction of knowing you're the only adult in the room. Real quick, before I tell you how I watched a government career implode in real time, hit subscribe and maybe drop a like. It fuels my caffeine addiction and keeps me from screaming into a pillow. We good? Okay, back to the bureaucracy. The problem with being invisible is that people forget you're structural. They think you're just wallpaper. Enter director Justin Wells. Justin was a political appointee whose resume was written in Comic Sans and smelled like desperation and expensive cologne. Justin didn't know the difference between a secure, compartmentalized information facility and a broom closet, but he knew how to smile for LinkedIn photos. He looked at security protocols the way a toddler looks at vegetables, an annoyance to be pushed off the plate. For the last 6 months, Justin had been shadowing me, not to learn, but to critique. He'd stand in the corner of my office, sipping a kale smoothie that cost more than my hourly rate, and ask questions like, do we really need physical logs? Can't we just put this on the cloud? The cloud isn't authorized for this level of intel, Justin, I'd say, not looking up from my monitors. And unless you want the Chinese government reading our lunch orders, we stick to the hard lines. He'd sigh, the heavy, dramatic sigh of a visionary being held back by a dinosaur. So analog, Brandon. We need to be agile. We need to pivot. I hate the word pivot. In the Marine Corps, pivot meant someone was about to get shot. In the corporate world, it usually means break something that works and call it innovation. Then the nephew appeared. Ryan Wells. Imagine a golden retriever that learned how to mine Bitcoin and vape at the same time. That was Ryan. He was 24, wore sneakers that looked like spaceships, and had a certificate in cybersecurity awareness from a website that probably steals your credit card info. Justin introduced him as a consultant. Ryan is going to help us streamline, Justin said, beaming like he'd just invented fire. Ryan looked at my bank of monitors, feeds from 96 cameras, thermal sensors, and perimeter alarms, and said, "Whoa, can we get this on an iPad? I feel like I could gamify this." My soul left my body. It packed a bag, took the Amtrak to Philly, and never came back. "Security isn't a game, Ryan," I said, my voice flat. "It's a series of redundancies designed to prevent catastrophe. Each camera has a backup power source. Each sensor has manual override capability. The system works because it's built for worst-case scenarios." "Vibes are low in here," Ryan whispered to his uncle. I should have known then. I should have seen the writing on the wall. It wasn't graffiti. It was a termination notice written in invisible ink. I kept doing my job, though. Just last week, we had a soft probe, DHS testing our perimeter. I spotted their fake delivery van 2 miles out because the suspension was riding too low for a floral delivery. I'd seen enough IED delivery vehicles in Kandahar to know when something wasn't right. I locked the site down before they even put the vehicle in park. Justin was annoyed. You caused a traffic jam, Brandon. My lunch delivery was late. I stopped a federal penetration test, Justin. That van was carrying detection equipment. You're too tense. You need to vibe more. I didn't know that vibing was a job requirement, but apparently it was ranking higher than active top-secret clearance. In Afghanistan, guys who vibed instead of following protocol came home in boxes. I sat in my office, a windowless box that smelled of ozone and floor wax, and looked at the calendar. I had a feeling. You develop a sixth sense in this job. It's like the feeling you get right before a thunderstorm, or right before you realize the milk in your coffee was chunky. The air felt heavy. Ryan was wandering the halls with a tablet, tapping at things. I caught him trying to bypass the biometric scanner on the server room door. "It's too slow," he complained when I confronted him. "It takes like 6 seconds to read my retina. I could code a workaround." "If you code a workaround," I said, leaning in close enough to smell the Red Bull on his breath, "I will have you arrested for violating the Espionage Act. Do not touch my doors." He ran to Justin. Of course he did. I went back to my desk and stared at the blinking cursor. I was tired, not sleep-tired, soul-tired. I was tired of explaining to grown men why they couldn't prop open the back door to let the pizza guy in. I was tired of being the bad guy because I followed the laws that kept them out of prison. I didn't know it yet, but that was my last full day of feeling responsible. The axe was already falling. It was swinging down in slow motion, shiny and sharp, guided by the hands of a man who thought security was just an app you download. And honestly, I was about to let it hit me because sometimes the only way to show someone that they're standing on a trap door is to pull the lever. The next morning, the summons came. A calendar invite titled Quick Sync popped up on my screen at 8:45 a.m. for a 9:00 a.m. meeting. In the corporate world, Quick Sync is code for execution. If they wanted to talk about budget or schedules, they'd call it a review. Sync means you're about to be unsynced from the payroll. I walked into Justin's office. It was the only room in the building with a real window, had a view of the parking lot and the Virginia tree line. Ryan was there, sitting in one of the leather guest chairs, spinning it back and forth with his foot. He was wearing a hoodie that said, "Disrupt" across the chest. The irony was almost physical. Justin didn't look at me. He was rearranging a stack of papers that I knew were blank. "It's a power move. Brandon, have a seat. Close the door." I sat. I didn't close the door. I left it cracked 3 inches. Another power move. "Brandon," Justin started, putting on a serious face. It looked like he was trying to solve a math problem while passing a kidney stone. "We've been looking at the metrics. The facility is evolving. The nature of threats is changing. It's all cyber now. Digital frontiers. We house physical prototypes of ballistic missile guidance systems, Justin," I said. "You can't hack a crate of hardware if someone just walks in and steals it." "See, that's that old school thinking," Ryan chimed in, not looking up from his phone. "Everything is data. Matter is just like slow energy." I stared at him. I wondered if I could legally classify him as a safety hazard. "The point is," Justin interrupted, finally looking me in the eye, "we're restructuring the security division. We need a fresh perspective, someone who speaks the language of the future. Ryan here has just finished an intensive boot camp in full-stack security management. It was 6 weeks, Ryan said proudly. Online. Brandon, Justin continued, you're overqualified for the direction we're going. Your methods are heavy, expensive. We need agile. We need lean. You're firing me, I said. It wasn't a question. We're releasing you to pursue new opportunities, Justin corrected. Effective immediately. We'll pay out your contract, of course. 4-week severance, 4 weeks, 25 years of service. I had missed my daughter's graduation because of a lockdown at this facility. I had missed my father's funeral because the Secretary of Defense decided to do a surprise tour. I had trained 3 generations of security staff. I had stopped 12 penetration tests without a single successful breach. I had given this building my life, and they were offering me 4 weeks of pay and a kick out the door. I felt a heat rise in my chest, hot and sharp like swallowing a lit cigarette. But on the outside, I was ice. This is what training does. When the alarm bells ring, you don't panic. You assess. In Kandahar, panic got people killed. In corporate America, it just got you escorted out by security. Okay, I said. Justin blinked. He was expecting a fight. He wanted a fight so he could call security, my security staff, to escort me out. He wanted the drama to validate his decision. Just okay? If that's the decision, that's the decision, I said, standing up. Who is the acting manager in charge? Who holds the clearance? Ryan is taking over, Justin said, puffing out his chest. I looked at Ryan. Ryan was trying to balance a pencil on his nose. Does Ryan have top secret clearance? I asked. Does he have his Tier 2 background check completed by the DoD? I have a background check from my apartment complex, Ryan said. I'm clean, bro. We're fast-tracking the paperwork. Justin waved his hand dismissively. It's just red tape, Brandon. You worry too much about the forms. Ryan has the app access. That's what matters. I stood there for a second, looking at them. I looked at the live laugh lead poster on Justin's wall. I looked at the dying succulent on his desk, and I realized something. I didn't have to warn them. I wasn't legally required to tell them that you can't fast-track a top-secret clearance. It takes months. It involves men in suits interviewing your third-grade teacher. Without it, you are legally not allowed to be the point of contact for anything higher than a sanitation truck. But more importantly, I realized that if I warned them, they would just blame me when it went wrong anyway. They'd say I sabotaged the transition. They'd find a way to make it my fault. All right, I said. I'll clear my desk. Leave your badge and keys on the table, Justin said. Ryan will walk you out. I know the way, I said. I walked back to my office. The hallway felt longer than usual. My staff, guards I had hired, trained, and shared coffee with for years, looked at me. They knew. News travels faster than light in a secure facility. Kevin Martinez, the shift supervisor, looked like he wanted to say something, but I gave him a small shake of the head. Stay down, Kevin. Don't catch a bullet for a corpse. Kevin was good people. Ex-Army, 2 kids, mortgage. He didn't need to go down with this ship. I walked into my office and started putting my life into a cardboard box. A photo of my wife and kids, a stress ball shaped like a grenade that Kevin had given me for Christmas, my favorite mug that said, "I see dumb people," 25 years of accumulated desk junk, a commendation letter from the Secretary of Defense, my military service medals in a cheap frame. And then I saw it. My monitor was still on, my Outlook was open, and right there, flashing in the corner, was a calendar reminder I had set 6 months ago. A reminder for a logistics drill that was classified so highly it wasn't even on the main server, was local only. Confirm motorcade. VP Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Today was Monday. The drill wasn't just a drill. It was a red ball event, a full-scale Secret Service walkthrough pretending to be a vice presidential visit, designed to test the facility's readiness for a POTUS emergency shelter situation. It involved the actual Secret Service advance team. It involved the vice presidential motorcade logistics, and the only person confirmed to receive them, the only person with the clearance code to verify the agents so they didn't storm the building with guns drawn, was the senior security operations manager. Me. I looked at the screen. I looked at the sent items folder. I had confirmed the date 3 weeks ago. Justin wasn't copied on it because Justin didn't have the clearance to know the specific dates of red ball drills. That was need-to-know information, and Justin didn't need to know. I hovered my mouse over the forward button. I could send this to Justin. I could write, "Hey, heads up, Secret Service is invading tomorrow. Make sure Ryan wears pants and has his security certificate ready." I looked at the box of my stuff. I thought about 4-week severance. I thought about matter is just slow energy. I thought about 25 years of perfect service being dismissed because some kid with a hoodie thought security was outdated. I selected the email. I hit forward. I typed in my personal email address. I hit send. Then I deleted the calendar event from the work Outlook. I emptied the deleted items folder. I cleared the browser cache for good measure. I picked up my box. I walked out of the office. I dropped my badge on the reception desk where Ashley Cooper sat, looking confused about the sudden personnel change. "Have a nice life," I whispered to the empty lobby. The air conditioning hummed back at me. It sounded like a chuckle. Driving home at 11:00 a.m. on a Monday feels illegal. The sun hits the dashboard differently when you're unemployed. I stopped at a liquor store and bought a bottle of expensive bourbon, the kind I usually save for election years, and a bag of spicy pork rinds. A celebration of mediocrity. My phone buzzed. It was Kevin, my shift supervisor. Text from Kevin. They just gave Ryan the master override codes. He wrote them on a sticky note and put it on his monitor. "We're doomed." I didn't reply. I couldn't. Responding would be interference. I was a civilian now. Civilians don't worry about master override codes written on sticky notes. Civilians worry about daytime television and what to cook for dinner. I got home, poured a glass of the bourbon, and opened my laptop. I pulled up the email I had forwarded to myself. I needed to look at it one more time to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. Subject: FWD, Operation Ironclad Logistics Walkthrough. From, redacted, at usdod.gov. To Brandon, Security Lead. Body: Agent in charge. Confirm readiness for Tier 2 Advanced Team arrival, Tuesday 16 Dec, 11:30 hours. Protocol: Top secret, verify only. No deputies, no proxies. Failure to produce cleared POC will result in immediate site scrubbing and compliance audit. Confirm receipt. I took a sip of bourbon. It burned, but in a good way, like the burn of completing a mission in hostile territory. Let me explain what top secret clearance means for those of you who don't speak Beltway. It's the golden ticket. It's the clearance required to work directly with the vice president or president. It involves a background check so deep they probably know what I dreamed about in 1998. They interview your neighbors, they interview your ex-girlfriends, they want to know if you've ever bounced a check or looked at questionable websites. It takes 6 to 18 months to get, depending on how clean your background is. You can't transfer it. You can't act in it. You can't delegate it to your nephew who took an online course. If you don't have it, you don't exist to the Secret Service. Tomorrow at 11:30 a.m., agents from the Vice Presidential Protective Division were going to walk into that lobby. They weren't coming to chat. They were coming to secure a location for the second highest official in the free world. They would expect to be met by me. Instead, they were going to be met by Ryan. Ryan, who thought the cloud was a magical place where data lived happily ever after. Ryan, who was currently vibing in my office, probably trying to connect his gaming headset to the security monitors. I imagined the scene. I closed my eyes and let it play out like a movie. Justin would be in his office, probably planning a synergy lunch with the local Chamber of Commerce. Ryan would be messing with the badge printer, trying to make his own laminated credential. And then the knock on the door. Not a polite knock. The kind of knock that shakes the frame and announces that the full weight of federal authority has arrived. I felt a twinge of guilt, not for Justin or Ryan. They'd made their bed with Egyptian cotton sheets and now they could sleep in it. But for Kevin and the rest of my team. They were going to be in the splash zone when this thing detonated. But I knew Kevin. Kevin was a pro. He'd see the suits, he'd see the earpieces, he'd spot the tactical communication equipment, and he'd go into survival mode. Name, rank, serial number, and point to the boss. Kevin had been through enough military exercises to recognize when the real thing was happening. I checked my severance agreement. Paragraph 4, Section B. The employee agrees to return all company property and cease all access to company systems immediately upon termination. I had ceased access. I had returned the property. I was following the contract to the letter. If I had called them to warn them, I would technically be violating the cease all access clause. I was just being a good, compliant ex-employee, following orders just like they taught us in the Corps. I spent the rest of the afternoon doing things I hadn't done in years. I watered my plants. My wife had bought them before she passed 3 years ago, and I'd somehow kept them alive through sheer stubbornness. I organized my spice rack. I watched a documentary about penguins. It was fascinating. The penguins just marched into the freezing wind, head down, surviving purely on instinct and training. They reminded me of government workers, only with better survival instincts. Night fell. The facility would be on night mode now. Usually I'd check the logs from my phone before bed, just a quick glance to make sure the perimeter sensors were green and the overnight crew was positioned correctly. Tonight, my phone was a brick. No access, no responsibility. I wondered if Ryan knew how to arm the night alarm system. There was a specific sequence. Panel A, confirm. Panel B, confirm. Toggle switch. Enter 8-digit code. Wait for green light. If you did it wrong, the silent alarm tripped and the local police would show up, followed by federal agents who didn't appreciate false alarms. At 2:00 a.m., I woke up to sirens in the distance. Multiple sirens. I smiled, rolled over, and went back to sleep. They weren't my sirens anymore. Tuesday morning, the day of reckoning, I woke up at 5:00 a.m. without an alarm. Old habits die hard. My body wanted to put on a blazer and drive into traffic. My brain said, no, we are eating pancakes today and watching the news. I made coffee. Good coffee. Not the industrial sludge from the break room machine that tasted like burnt plastic and crushed dreams. I sat on my porch. The air was crisp. December in Virginia has that clean bite that reminds you winter means business. It was a beautiful day for a federal incident. Meanwhile, 10 miles away, I knew exactly what was happening. Based on Kevin's text from the night before, which I had read but not answered, Ryan had decided to modernize the entry protocols. Apparently, Ryan didn't like the physical sign-in sheets. Paper is for boomers, he had probably said. So he'd replaced the reception log with a tablet kiosk. A tablet that required Wi-Fi in a building with signal jammers in the lobby. Genius. I could picture the line of frustrated scientists trying to swipe their badges on a screen that was endlessly buffering. Justin would be walking past, smiling, saying, "Growing pains, everyone. Disruption leads to innovation." At 9 a.m., my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize, but the area code was local. I let it go to voicemail. 2 minutes later, another call. Same number. Voicemail. Then a text from Justin. "Brandon, quick question. The badge system is acting weird. What's the admin password? The one on the sticky note isn't working." I stared at the text. The audacity. He fired me, insulted my career, questioned my methods, and now wanted tech support, like calling your ex-wife to ask where you keep the good dishes. I didn't reply. I blocked the number. I poured more syrup on my pancakes. The clock ticked. 9:30 a.m. 10 a.m. The Secret Service advance team is never late. If they say 11:30, they mean they are parking at 11:25 and entering the door at 11:30 Hunderquao. They operate on a timeline that makes atomic clocks look sloppy. They would be in stage 1 movement now, leaving the field office. Black Chevys, tinted windows, plates that don't register in the DMV database. 2 agents in the lead car, 2 in the trail car, maybe a K9 unit if they were feeling thorough. They would have the site profile on a tablet. That profile would list point of contact Brandon Sullivan, Senior Security Operations Manager. They wouldn't know about Ryan. The Secret Service database updates slowly. Personnel changes at Tier 2 sites require a Form SF-86 update, which takes weeks to process. As far as the USSS was concerned, I was still the gatekeeper. At 11:27 a.m., a convoy of 3 black SUVs turned off the main road and approached the facility gate. The gate guard, Scott, who I'd hired because he was ex-Army and didn't smile, would have stopped them. Scott, ID, lead agent flashes credentials, United States Secret Service, Vice Presidential Protective Division. Scott, knowing the drill because I trained him, would have immediately hit the button to open the gate and reached for the landline to call the manager in charge. Scott calls my old desk extension. Ring, ring, ring. Ryan wouldn't answer. He'd be listening to a podcast about cryptocurrency or trying to figure out why his gaming headset wouldn't connect to the security monitors. Scott, sweating now, waves the convoy through because you do not hold up federal agents. He assumes the manager knows they are coming. 11:30 a.m. 4 men and 2 women exit the vehicles. They are wearing suits that cost more than Ryan's car. They are wearing earpieces. They are moving with terrifying precision, like a machine built for one purpose. They enter the lobby. Ashley Cooper, receptionist, looks up from her desk. "Can I help you?" "Federal agents," the lead agent barks. "Let's call him Agent Lucas Anderson. We are here for the scheduled site advance. Where is the manager in charge?" Ashley freezes. She looks at the iPad kiosk Ryan installed. Please sign in on the tablet." Agent Anderson looks at the tablet like it's radioactive. "I'm not signing a tablet. Where is Brandon Sullivan? We have an 11:30. Verify." "Brandon doesn't work here anymore," Ashley whispers. The temperature in the lobby drops 20 degrees. The agents stop moving. They go into threat assessment mode. "Who is in charge of site security?" Anderson asks, his voice like gravel. "Ryan," Ashley says. "He's in the back office. Get him now." Ashley scrambles for the phone. She pages the overhead system. Ryan to the lobby. Ryan to the lobby immediately. Ryan hears his name and thinks his DoorDash arrived. He saunters out wearing his Disrupt hoodie, holding a half-eaten bagel, no badge visible. "Sup?" Ryan says. "I'm Ryan, head of security." Agent Anderson stares at him. Hoodie, bagel, sneakers, no badge, no weapon, no situational awareness. "You are the manager in charge?" Anderson asks. "Yeah, man. Taking things in a new direction. Digital first." Ryan bites the bagel. Anderson taps his earpiece. "Command. We have a discrepancy at primary entry point. POC is missing. Subject is unidentified male." "Whoa, unidentified?" Ryan laughs. "I'm the director's nephew, bro. Check the app." "Sir," Anderson says, stepping forward, "I need to see your top secret credentials. Now." Ryan blinks. "My what?" And there it is, the moment the universe snaps. Top secret clearance, Tier 2 certification. Do you hold it? I have a certificate in cloud safety, Ryan offers weakly. Anderson turns to his team. Secure the doors. Nobody in, nobody out. Get the site director. Justin appears, adjusting his tie, ready to lecture whoever is disrupting his morning. He sees 6 federal agents, sees Ryan looking terrified, sees the lobby locked down. What is this? Justin demands. I am the director. You can't just... Director, Anderson interrupts. We are the United States Secret Service. We are executing a pre-planned advance for VPOTUS contingency. Your facility confirmed readiness. VPOTUS? Justin goes pale. The vice president? We need the cleared contact. Your staff says Sullivan is gone. We restructured. Ryan is the new... Does this individual possess active top-secret clearance? We're fast-tracking. You don't fast-track top-secret, Director. The DoD authorizes it. The FBI vets it. Without it, this individual cannot be in the same building as the protectee. Silence. You could hear careers dying. Command. Anderson speaks into his mic. Scrub the site. Repeat. Scrub the site. Location compromised. Chain of custody broken. Abort movement. Abort? Justin's voice cracks. You can't cancel. I am declaring this facility a security risk. DHS Internal Affairs is en route. And that's when it hit Justin. He looked at my empty chair. For 25 years, he'd never had Internal Affairs visit. Never had a scrub order. Never had a security breach. Because I was there. The aftermath was swift. Ryan was escorted out Wednesday, crying about his crypto wallet. Justin was placed on administrative leave Thursday. When Deputy Director Eric Nelson called me that evening, I was ready. We need you back, Nelson said. I'm exploring opportunities, I replied, but I hear regional compliance needs a director. You want the regional job? Seems like a role where thorough methods would be appreciated. Monday morning, I walked into my new office in D.C. Real window, view of the Potomac. My first act as regional director of compliance was reviewing the audit of my old site. Justin was terminated for gross misconduct. Lost his pension, his clearance. He's selling smart water bottles now. I sat at my new desk, opened my email, and typed, Justin, reviewed your file. Friendly reminder. Clearance cannot be inherited, disrupted, or replaced by an app. Also, you still owe me 4 weeks severance. Expect a check by Friday. Brandon. I hit send. The sun set over the Capitol. The monuments glowed in the distance. My phone buzzed. Kevin, new director, arrived, asked for paper logs, asked for keys, asked where you were to send a thank you card. I smiled. Sometimes the best way to prove your value is to step back and let incompetence expose itself. Competence always finds its way to the surface. I closed my laptop. The server room hummed in the distance. It sounded like victory. If you enjoyed watching incompetence meet federal reality, hit that subscribe. And remember, when someone tells you to pivot away from safety protocols, let them. Just keep the receipts.